All right, sixth graders. In our last lesson, we talked about how to add positive and negative numbers called integers. And we learned that the best way to think of it is like thinking of temperature or money, where if it's negative 5 degrees and then it goes down 2 degrees, that's like adding negative 5 plus negative 2 to get negative 7. Okay? Today we're going to talk about subtracting integers. So for example, 3 minus 7. Or 5 minus negative 7. Okay? And there's two concepts that will help you to do this really, really well. First is to change subtraction to addition. And you do that by inserting a plus sign in front of the minus sign. So in this first example, 3 minus 7 is the same as 3 plus negative 7. If you insert a plus sign in front of this minus sign, so it says 3 plus negative 7, you get the answer. 3 minus 7 is the same as it being 3 degrees and then going down 7 degrees. 3 minus 7. And since we already learned how to add integers, you can insert the plus sign and then add. Okay? So you just insert the plus sign in front of the minus sign. All right. Then the other situation is when you have two minus signs in a row. And if you have two minus signs in a row, they cancel each other out. So in that case, you just change it to a plus sign. All right, I like to explain it this way. Minus minus equals plus. Try it. Minus minus equals plus.
So then it would just be
minus minus equals plus.
Power Rangers. Minus 5 plus 2.
So in this case, 5 minus negative 7 is the same as 5 plus 7. We change it to just plus. The minus signs really cancel each other out. Kind of like in if you're speaking two negatives in a row. In other words, if I say I don't not like math. That's a double negative, and it means they cancel each other out. So I do like math. I don't not like math. Okay? I don't not like math. I do like math. This is 5 minus negative, and so it's really 5 plus 7. Reading. It's a 1. So, when you have two minus signs in a row, and that's the key here, is to look for two minus signs in a row. Look at these examples. All right? 5 minus 4. 5 minus 4 is the same as 5 plus negative 4, right? So that's 1. What about 4 minus 5? Is that the same? 4 minus 5 is really 4 plus negative 5. So that's not the same as 5 plus negative 4. So that answer is negative 1. Right? You with me? How about negative 4 minus 5? Negative 4 minus 5. Negative 4 minus 5 is the same as negative 4 plus negative 5. So that's negative 9. Okay? Now look at this one. negative 4 minus negative 5. That's not the same as negative 4 minus 5 because of what? The two negatives in a row. So when you see these two negatives in a row, this is what I like to do. I like to just change this and put a big plus sign. Because the two minus signs in a row become just plus. So then negative 4 plus 5 is 1 again. Okay? Any questions on that? So then, how would you do this question? (56) minus 93. 56 minus 93. You could do this like this. 56 minus 93. Right? Could you do that? Or it's plus negative 93, right? So how would you do that? See if I'm doing this right. So 56 minus 93, I would do 6 minus 3 is 3. And then 5 minus 9 is negative 4. So that's negative 43. Is that right?
Yep. No. Wait.
No, I just calculated it.
No?
It's not correct.
What did I do wrong?
Hey, you're cheating. I don't care.
Bennett? I didn't add them? Well, you don't add, you add the negative if it's minus. Okay? But what do you have to remember? Olivia?
That you always have to use the bigger number on the top and subtract
Yes.
those.
Yeah, you have to find the difference between the bigger absolute value minus the smaller absolute value, right? So we can't do that way. That's wrong. We have to do this as the absolute value of 93 minus the absolute value of 56. Okay, so the bigger minus the smaller. 93 minus 56. Okay? So then can we do 3 minus 6 is negative 3?
Nope.
No, you have to follow the subtraction rules that you learned in 3rd grade. So you have to regroup this number. Right? You have to take away a 10, give 10 to the ones place, and subtract. 13 minus 6 is 7. 8 minus 5 is 3. Now we have to go back and see that the bigger absolute value is negative. Right? So that means this one is further away from 0 on the number line, which makes our answer negative. Okay? The answer is negative. We find the answer by doing the bigger number minus the smaller number. Or the bigger absolute value minus the smaller absolute value. Okay? Think about what you learned with the number line. If it was 56 to the right minus 93 or plus negative 93, we would end up in the negative. Right?
But you know the one that's wrong? It's kind of funny because under it says
I marked it wrong. Okay? Tyler.
When you were talking about the minus equals plus thing and you said you don't not like math, you obviously don't not like English.
Good one.
So not.
Alright, let's go to the assignment.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it. We did that in English.
Now,
His
Such a bad joke, Tyler.
Negative 5 minus negative 2, okay? So one of the ways to think of this when you have these is to think of these as adding 2 to this. And then these cancel out. And you're left with negative 3. Okay? Minus negative equals plus. So we change this to just plus. Okay? Well, no, there'd be 3 left over. 3 negatives left over. Okay? Negative 5, look on your worksheet. Negative 5 plus 2. How about this one? If we added, this model doesn't make sense to me. Negative 1 plus 3. I don't think this model is,
Right? Yeah, so you can do
it
that.
says negative 1. Why? I don't know why there's positive 2 or.
Oh, definitely. I know
I don't
why,
think
because you
this is
cancel
the-
them out and there's one left. But that's not the answer. But
Yes, it's the right answer. Because it
Well, it is
equals
the right
negative 1.
answer.
Like negative 2.
Oh, it'd be 2, yeah.
I don't know where negative 1 fits that model. So that model doesn't make much sense. Okay? Yes.
This might be wrong, but it might be, you might get mad, but so all y'all know, the answer is just the stuff that's not circled.
Yeah. Yep. So, right. Let's go to the examples at the bottom.
Figure it out.
Okay?
Well, if it's black, it's obviously negative. If it's white,
So, when we are following the rules, okay, listen everyone. Negative 7 minus negative 5. What do you do with the minus minus? Raise your hands. Minus number 9. Negative 7 minus negative 5. Yeah, pay attention to this. Olivia? But what do you do with the 2 minuses in this? Yeah, you just change it to a big plus sign, like that. Change it to a big plus sign. And then find the answer. Okay? How about 4 minus negative 4? 4 minus negative 4. Trevor? Yeah, it's 8 because it's 4 plus 4. So that equals 8. How about negative 8 minus 9? Are these, do we have 2 minus signs in a row? No. So in this case, you just insert the plus sign. So this becomes negative 8 plus negative 9. Negative 8 plus negative 9. You put a plus sign in front of the minus sign. Tate.
So what? So negative 7 plus negative 5. That's 12, not 2. And how does 4 plus?
No, negative 7 plus negative 5 is negative 12.
Yeah.
But this is negative 7 minus negative 5, not plus negative 5.
Why do you put a plus there?
Because the plus sign cancels out both minus signs.
Doesn't make sense.
Yes, because 2 minus signs in a row
Yeah, equals.
cancel each other out and become just plus.
that's plus.
Great. Negative 7 plus
But
5.
if they cancel each other out, they can't get a plus to a minus. How do you get a plus to a minus? It doesn't make sense.
You don't get a plus or a minus. You get
What are you
minuses.
doing there?
No, you're changing minuses to plus, not pluses to minus.
Yeah, I'm changing the minus to a plus. Because you put the two together as a plus. You add them together, you have minus. I'll put you 7 plus 5.
Negative 7.
Oh,
You missed the
I
negative.
could lie, but I just can't do this.
Sit down now, sit down. Sit down.
Okay,
Sit down.
I'm the real taste.
Okay. That's enough. Turn the dial back down. Brennan. Bennett.
You said right.
It's fine, it's
fine.
Sorry.
I'm
Bennett.
totally not offended. Anyways, I have two
Quiet,
questions.
please.
The first one is, when will we use this in real life?
Anytime you are adding negative, like temperature in science class, so that's one area, okay? Later on, as you learn how to solve algebra problems, you're gonna have a lot of numbers with negatives. And so you're gonna have to know how to add and subtract those numbers.
And also my other question, my final question.
Okay?
Doesn't the negative, like, let's do 4 plus negative 2. Doesn't the negative, like, sorry, 4 minus negative 2. Doesn't the negative, like, kind of, not repent, but like,
Repeal the negative?
I don't know what that word means.
That means to roll back or
Yeah.
to change it? Yes. It changes. Minus negative, the two negative signs in a row, cancel each other out, so it's just plus. Okay? Allison? No, you can't turn the minus to a plus because there's not two minus signs in a row. There's a minus sign before the 8 and one minus sign before the 9. Right, so it's negative 8 plus negative 9. What's negative 8 plus negative 9? Negative plus another negative is more negative. So that equals negative 17. Negative plus negative. Negative plus more negative. Okay, read in. You already have a warning, okay? Yes, what's your question?
This makes no sense. Okay,
so
so how did you get 8? You said 2 negatives equals a positive.
So the original problem was 4 minus negative 4.
Yes.
Now look at the problem. Read in.
I'm looking at it.
No, up here where I'm showing you. The minus negative are two negative signs in a row.
But
So one of the ways, here's a different way to think of it. This might make sense to you. Minus is kind of like thinking the opposite of positive. Okay? So this could mean 4 minus the opposite of 4. Or 4 minus negative. 4 minus the opposite of negative 4, which is 4 plus 4. So, the easiest way is to look for the pattern, and that's what math is all about, is finding patterns in numbers. And the pattern is that when you have two minus signs right next to each other, you can change them to just a plus sign.
But then how did you get negative 17 on that one?
Because in this one, negative 8 minus 9 doesn't have two negative signs in a row,
Can't you just change one?
so then we just insert a plus sign in front of the minus sign. change subtraction to addition.
It's called math.
Why?
Braden, because, listen, Braden, because you know how to do -8 plus -9. And it means the same thing. -8 plus -9 is the same as -8 minus 9. Okay?
I will forever be
So again, we are trying to find patterns here. Kate, turn around. Back to work. We're looking for patterns in the numbers and symbols. The pattern is that when there is 2 minus signs in a row, like 2 minus -3, we change that to 2 plus 3. But if there is one negative, -10, minus 4, then we just insert a plus sign in between them. Change the subtraction to plus negative. And then you can get the answer. Okay? So, do both sides for tomorrow. Changing subtraction to plus or plus negative, and then finding the answer, okay? Any questions? Any more questions, Peter?
I have a question on 30.
On number 30? Oh, on the other side? Okay. When a negative number is subtracted from a positive number, is the difference positive, negative, or 0?
Can it be any of them because depending on the numbers?
Well, if a negative number is subtracted, so let's say that we're starting with a positive number, 10, is subtracting, and then subtract a negative number.
Oh, I did it the other way around. I did a negative, I did a positive number. Okay, I see.
Okay? Yes?
I got two things. I know we're gonna do geometry and some trigonometry and those calculus. I don't think we're gonna use that in the real world.
Anytime you, if you do any physics or engineering,
That's not a you problem.
What is that noise, Mr.